György Gordon Bajnai is a Hungarian entrepreneur and economist, who served as the 7th Prime Minister of Hungary from 2009 to 2010. In March 2009, following Prime Minister Ferenc Gyurcsány's announced resignation, Bajnai was nominated by the ruling Hungarian Socialist Party to become Hungary's next Prime Minister. Bajnai became Prime Minister when the Parliament passed a constructive motion of no confidence against Ferenc Gyurcsány on 14 April 2009. Studies, and student politics. Bajnai was raised in Bahar, Hungary as the son of György László Bajnai and Agota Savari. He finished his secondary studies there in 1986. He graduated from the Budapest University of Economic Sciences International Relations Department in 1991. For his public and professional activities he was rewarded Pro Universitate Award. Bajnai was not a Hungarian Young Communist League leader like Gyurcsány, but he was active in youth politics. In 1987, Bajnai organized a boycott of the University of Economics canteen, and was chairman of the Independent Student Council. He was also the head of the History Department of Studium Generale, Admission Preparatory Studies College. In 1989, he, alongside Andras Schiffer, participated in the organization of the short-lived New Generation movement, founded and led by Gyurcsány. Entrepreneurial career. After earning his master's degree, Bajnai took a job at Creditum Financial Consulting Limited. In 1993, he undertook an internship at the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development in London. Later he also worked for Eurocorp International Finance Limited. Between 1995 and 2000, Bajnai was the managing director of SEAB Securities Co., and was the deputy chief executive officer. Bajnai was involved in the management of introducing several major companies to the stock exchange. Between 2000 and 2005, he was CEO of Wallace RT, an investment company. His duty was to restructure the company, make it more efficient and to manage its investments. Wallace Group member companies were at the time Graboplast RT, Raba RT, Alenda RT, Index, Wallace Ingatlan, Wallace Auto Holding, Danubius Radio, Cafe Advertisement. In 2003, the National Association of Managers selected Bajnai as the Young Manager of the Year. Among the more than 100 Wallace-owned companies, a poultry processing firm, Hagydúbei Equity, went bankrupt during 2003, against all efforts by its management and owners. Many partners of Hagydúbei Equity suffered serious losses during the time when the poultry market collapsed in 2003. Wallace Group itself lost 10 billion forints. There were news circulating about possible related suicides linked to the bankruptcy among farmers. Years later, when he started his political career, Bajnai was criticized for the Hagydúbei Equity collapse, although won lawsuits against media outlets for false accusations. In 2005, he was president of Budapest Airport Inc., and member of the Supervisory Committee at ZAWAC Inc. He was a member of the Corvinus University of Budapest Economic Council. He resigned all of his company posts and board memberships when he entered the government as government commissioner, responsible for EU funds and national development. Political career. Member of the Gyurcsány II cabinet. Bajnai first received a government post in 2006. On 1 July, Prime Minister Ferenc Gyurcsány called on him to be the Government Commissioner for Development Policy. In this position, he maintained supervision over National Development Agency that controls EU funds to Hungary. He became minister in July 2007 in the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development. After SZDSZ left the coalition government in May 2008, he took over the newly formed Ministry of National Development and Economy. In March 2009, Prime Minister Ferenc Gyurcsány resigned, announcing that he would hand over his position to a new premier with a higher support of the parties of the Hungarian parliament. The Alliance of Free Democrats opposed most candidates for the post proposed by the Hungarian Socialists, although Bajnai was reluctant to give in after a week with no tangible results in sight, and being asked by the majority of party stakeholders, who also assured him of the support of the needed austerity measures, he took the job. Securing the backing of both parties, Bajnai became Prime Minister on the 14th of April 2009. Prime Minister. The Hungarian Parliament elected Bajnai as Hungary's Prime Minister with 204 votes for 8 abstentions. The remaining 174 MPs did not vote. In his first speech as PM, he promised drastic measures to stop the negative spiral of the Hungarian economy, and to ease the burden of the international crisis. He also stated that he would remain in power until he had the solid majority of parliament behind his austerity package, but will stay no longer than a year. He did not want to nominate himself on the next election. He undertook the task for only a year. Attila Mesterházy became the Hungarian Socialist Party's candidate for the position. The MSZP suffered its worst result since the 1990 elections. The Sixth National Assembly of Hungary formed on the 14th of May 2010. In accordance with the Constitution of Hungary, Bajnai became acting Prime Minister for the following days. In his last speech he raised word against the Jobbik, fearing for democracy given the party's radical views. The new cabinet formed on the 29th of May 2010. Bajnai was succeeded by Viktor Orbán. After that he retired from politics and returned to business life. Economic policy. Bajnai took over an economy that was expected to contract by 6% in 2009 and was kept afloat by a $25.1 billion IMF-led lifeline. Foreign investors were declining to finance Hungary's high budget and then current account deficits, and the forint's weakness threatened hundreds of thousands of families who took out foreign currency mortgages. Bajnai must have had to cut spending to rescue the budget, keep within IMF guidelines and regain investor confidence. The Bajnai government had 4 main goals: immediate crisis management, stimulating economic growth, balancing the economy, restoring global trust. Handling the ruling socialists might have been his most difficult task. He needed the votes, but a sizable section of the party viewed Bajnai with contempt because cuts in welfare spending was seen as eroding the party's traditional voter base. Despite of this, Bajnai made a reform in taxes, pensions, public sector bonuses, maternity support, mortgage subsidies, energy subsidies and public transport subsidies. Within 6 months, he managed to present a new budget that reduced government spending by 5%. Hungarian economic policy has regained its credibility. GDP spread was less than 1/3 of the level of a year before. In an interview given to Handelsblatt, Bajnai said, "Most of the painful decisions were taken during the first 100 days of my government. It was clear what Hungary had to do, even if it was not easy politically. This required painful adjustments from the people. Our challenge was keeping things bearable while simultaneously creating better conditions for stable and sustainable development. We have accomplished the goal." Foreign policy. His first visit abroad was in Brussels, where he debuted as Prime Minister. He had discussions with José Manuel Durão Barroso, President of the European Commission, and with Jaap de Hoop Scheffer, Secretary-General of NATO. In April he met with Austrian PM Werner Faymann. In May, he attended the EU Partnership Summit in Prague. In May, he presented a speech on the Europe Forum in Warsaw, and in June, he attended the V4 Summit in Krakow. He made a two-day official visit to Israel, where he met Shimon Peres, Benjamin Netanyahu and the opposition leader, Tzipi Livni. He also visited the Palestinian Authority, where he met the Palestinian Prime Minister, Salam Fayyad. The Nabucco Pipeline's intergovernmental agreement between Turkey, Romania, Bulgaria, Hungary and Austria was signed by 5 prime ministers on 13 July 2009 in Ankara. On 19 August, he met with Angela Merkel, Chancellor of Germany, in Sopron. The event was the 20th anniversary of the Pan-European picnic. In September he made a short official visit to Finland, where amongst others he met Prime Minister Matti Vanhanen. On the 10th of September, he invited the Slovak PM Robert Fico to ease the tensions between Hungary and Slovakia. There were a clash of views between the two neighbors concerning the controversial amendment of the Slovak State Language Act. The two premiers expressed regret over the circumstances of a failed visit by President Laszlo Solium to Kamano on 21 August and agreed to accept all recommendations of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe High Commissioner on National Minorities. Prime Ministers Gordon Bajnai of Hungary and Robert Fico of Slovakia signed a joint statement during the meeting in SZD Acute CSE Acute NY, published on the Hungarian government spokesman's website. The statement declares the two countries' common interest in easing political tension. Bajnai and Fico agreed to direct the attention of all political parties to the social risks of confrontation, and called upon the citizens of both countries to show tolerance and understanding. They agreed to take resolute measures against extremist groups, and fight against all forms of xenophobia, intolerance, chauvinism, nationalism and violence, and the exportation thereof to one another's country. The two premiers declared that bilateral relations should be based on confidence, transparency and a pragmatic and constructive bilateral dialogue. They agreed to use all forms and instruments of cooperation, including further prime ministerial meetings. Between 20 to 24 September, Bajnai made an official visit to the USA, where he met President Barack Obama, the UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon. He attended the climate conference of the UN. He visited the Wall Street Journal's editorial office. Amongst others, he had discussions with George Soros, Charles Gatti, a major U.S. financiers and investors. He closed the day's trading at the New York Stock Exchange. In early October, Bajnai made a visit to the United Kingdom. He attended talks with Prime Minister of the United Kingdom Gordon Brown and gave a public lecture at the London School of Economics and Political Science. Between 1819 October, he made a short official visit to Paris, where he met President of France Nicolas Sarkozy, PM François Fillon, and many French investors. Hungary sent more troops to Afghanistan in line with then-current U.S. strategy to enhance involvement there. Bajnai announced at a meeting with U.S. Vice President Joe Biden in the White House on 4 December 2009. The pledge been made in several steps during 2010. Hungarian troops mainly serve in logistics and training operations. On top of helping to secure elections in Afghanistan, Bajnai told journalists after the talks. Together 2014, several months after retiring from public service, he founded the Patriotism and Progress Public Policy Foundation with some of his former government members and independent World Experts, which states on its that its goal is to shape the worldview and attitudes of our citizens to build a better Hungary. To realize this dream, we will actively pursue a progressive agenda by learning from best practice and empowering communities to better themselves. We will amass and tutor the expertise and know-how to assist Hungary in facing the many tests it has to pass on the road to modernization. During the autumn of 2011, he took up lectureship at Columbia University in New York, Rutgers University in New Jersey and Johns Hopkins University in Washington, D.C. Bajnai announced his return to politics on the 23rd of October 2012, during the anti-government demonstration of the 1 Million for Press Freedom. On the protest, he called for an anti-Orban coalition so as to form a supermajority in parliament, with the help of which the changes done by Orban's ruling party, Fidesz, could be undone. In his speech, Gordon Bajnai repeatedly used a variant of the term, when he proclaimed his support for such a cooperation between hopeful left-wingers, disappointed right-wingers, politically abandoned freethinkers and committed Greens, that his organization, along with two other civilian bodies named together 2014 as a reference to the date of the next general election in Hungary. In December 2012, Bajnai announced that he intends to be a parliamentarian candidate in the 2014 general election. On the 14th of January 2014, 5 opposition parties entered into a coalition and formed Unity Alliance. Contrary to his earlier plans, Bajnai could not reach to become joint prime minister candidate of the left-wing opposition since Attila Mesterhazy was appointed to that position. Unity suffered a heavy defeat in April election. Nevertheless, Bajnai was elected to the National Assembly from the second place of the alliance's joint list. Bajnai resigned from his parliamentary seat on the 26th of May 2014. Gordon Bajnai retired from Hungarian politics for the second time in September 2014, when he was named Group Chief Operating Officer of the Paris-based Meridium Investment Fund. Bajnai said that his new job would not impact his political career in Hungary, and he would remain leader of Together, although that title is largely honorary, since he did not take an active part in its activities. However, commentators on both the left and right political wing agreed that Bajnai was quitting politics with that step. Personal life. Bajnai is married, but separated from his wife, having 2 children together. Bajnai has 1 child from his partner, with whom he has been living since 2004. His 4th child, a boy, was born in June 2012. Bajnai has played soccer from early childhood. He is one of the players of Hungarian football club Itzike SK. Bajnai plays as a goalkeeper. According to the team's homepage, the Prime Minister was the Footballer of the Year in 2001 at the club. In an occasion of a preparatory match against Grund FC, he was seriously injured. Honours. In 1994 he was awarded Pro Universitate. In 1999 he was voted one of the 30 most promising Central Eastern European business executives by the journal Central European Business Review. In 2003, the National Association of Managers selected Bajnai as the Young Manager of the Year. 2006 Office's Cross Order of Merit of the Republic of Hungary as an acknowledgement for his exceptional professional and company management work, and his achievements in the area of company management culture development.